Israel Adesanya, quote, cannot wait to face ex-kickboxing foe Alex Pereira in MMA. Now, we already know the stories. We've heard it from several different people that Alex Pereira is the only person to ever put Israel Adesanya, the greatest middleweight in the world, to sleep, and the only person to beat Israel Adesanya not only once, but twice in kickboxing. Now, he's trying to do it for a third time here over inside of the MMA and UFC octagon after he beats Sean Strickland. Now, we don't know if he's going to beat Sean Strickland, but we do know that if Alex Pereira wins his fight against Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya wins his fight against Jared Cannonier, we are in for a money fight for the UFC. They're putting this and on every they're going to put it on a main event of a pay-per-view. They're going to promo this to all of the kickboxing fans. Everyone's going to be like, this is the biggest threat to Israel Adesanya, the only guy to ever defeat him in kickboxing, the only striker that is better than Israel Adesanya. I mean, the promos for this fight are going to be absolutely insane, but Israel Adesanya seems pretty enthusiastic about it. So what do you guys think about a potential matchup of Adesanya and Alex Pereira? And do you think Adesanya gets knocked out yet again? Or maybe Adesanya can turn the tide inside of the UFC octagon and finally win this fight? Put your thoughts down below for this amazing fight. Adrian Yanez says the UFC staff themselves were telling him to F Kelley up before his fight at UFC Fight Night Austin this Saturday. Now, that is so funny because we already know what happened. He actually did F him up in that fight, knocked him out clean cold in, I believe, the very first round, like 4 minutes of that fight. And then all the people in the crowd were cheering, all the people, at home we're cheering as well, and it turns out Adrian is saying that the UFC staff themselves were saying the exact same thing. They were yelling at him. They're like, Adrian, go knock that out. You gotta do this. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. And Adrian Yanez with this amazing knockout right here just puts him in the back and then boom, right hand rocks him and then finishes him right there. I mean, absolutely amazing win. And Adrian Yanez enters the UFC bantamweight division top 15. I mean, so many stories in one for Adrian Yanez right there. Number 15 behind Jack Shore and Sean Omalley. Sean Omalley, a potential matchup right there. But put your thoughts down below. Anthony Lionheart Smith reacts to the betting odds for him and Ankalaev at UFC 277. Now, I had to say that these are very, very interesting odds because Ankalaev currently is a minus 450 favorite, almost 5-1 on the betting odds against Anthony Smith. And the betting odds started at 4-1 in favor of Magomed Ankalaev. Now, personally, I do think Ankalaev wins this fight by unanimous decision, but it is a much closer fight than that, because by the time Anthony Smith does go out there, his cardio starts to drain a little bit, and guys like Glover Teixeira are able to take him down and ground pound him. It's in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. This is only a 3-round fight, which makes me believe Anthony Smith has a very, very legit possibility of winning this fight on July 30th. But what do you guys think about this one? Anthony Smith versus Magomed Ankalaev. Do you agree or disagree with these 4 and even 5-1 betting odds? Put your thoughts down below in the comment section. Nate Diaz probably should go on to fight Jake Paul in boxing, says the boss man himself, Dana White. Dana White appears to be on the verge of giving in and allowing Nate Diaz to box Jake Paul. And this has kind of been what's happening a lot recently. So we hear right here. So listen, we're trying to do the best we can, trying not to blank on anybody or disrespect anybody, but it's not like we're talking about Kamaru Usman here. We're talking about Nate Diaz. Nate's won 1 fight in 5 years, so we're trying to figure this thing out with him. He probably should go on and fight Jake Paul. That is the fight that makes sense, and that is what the man himself, Dana White, has said. Now, if you haven't seen all the tweets and things like that coming from Nate Diaz, he's talking about book me a fight right now or release me. I got bigger things to do. Puts hashtag Jake Paul and things like that. So it's clear that Nate Diaz wants to make some money. He doesn't want to be sitting, waiting for a UFC fight this whole entire time when he can go over to boxing and fight Jake Paul, just a random YouTuber that's decided to do boxing out of nowhere. And Nate Diaz is probably going to make a lot of money in this fight. Win or lose, Diaz is making bank. So, I mean, I understand why Nate Diaz wants to get out of the UFC, wants to go over and fight Jake Paul, but still, it's been months and months and months, and the UFC still has not granted his wishes and given him a UFC fight or even released him to actually go over to boxing. And I'm saying this would be a good move for the UFC as well, because if Nate Diaz moves over to boxing, what does that build more interest for? Conor freaking McGregor, guys. I mean, if you have Nate Diaz go over there, maybe he beats Jake Paul. Oh my gosh. If Nate Diaz goes over and beats Jake Paul in a boxing match, and then McGregor comes back in MMA, wins some fights, lose some fights, whatever the case may be, boom! We have a boxing match with freaking Nate Diaz, Floyd Mayweather, Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor. We got Jake Paul, Conor McGregor. I mean, we have so many money fights over there in boxing that the only thing they're going to do is really help the UFC build more star power and things like that. Get more eyes on boxing, get more eyes on the UFC. But it's interesting. They still haven't cut Nate Diaz. They still haven't even given Nate Diaz a fight. So I'm not really too sure what's going to happen here. Put your thoughts down below. What do you guys think is going to happen next with Nate Diaz? Sean Omalley, Sugar Sean, says he wants to move to the featherweight division in the future of his UFC career, and that is a part of his old elaborate master plan inside the UFC. Sean Omalley is one of the biggest stars inside the UFC, just broke the top 15, currently is the number 13 bantamweight fighter in the world. But right here, we got quotes from the man himself, Sean Omalley. Ideally, if I could pick how it plays out, I'm eventually going up to 45. I think before that, I have to become champ in the bantamweight division. It has to be done. I think I will, once I become bantamweight champion. I'll deserve to earn a title shot at the 145-pound belt. I believe I can become a double champion, Omalley explained. So we got a future American Conor McGregor right here in Sugar Sean Omalley. He's got another quote right here. It's a big one as well. Then I do think in the future, Gervonta Davis sounds like a big fight for me. I would love to go over to the boxing world. I know people would love it. They hate it. They don't want to talk about it. MMA never beats boxers, but I'm in the entertainment business, and I believe in my skills, and I truly think that in 4 or 5 years, if I'm the double champion in the bantamweight division and in the featherweight division, Gervonta Davis is still a superstar in boxing. There's absolutely no reason I cannot go over there and perform for the fans, make some money in boxing, and put his light out at the exact same time, and become the biggest combat sports athlete in the freaking world. What in the world? Sean Omalley is a crazy master plan, but you never know. I mean, I'm not going to doubt him on this. I'm just going to say most likely it's not going to happen. I will say that right now. But what do you guys think? Do you think Omalley becomes bantamweight champion? Beats Aljamain Sterling, Henry Cejudo, Petr Yan, whoever the champion is at the time. Then he moves over to featherweight, becomes champion over there, and then does what McGregor did. It goes over to boxing and fights Gervonta Davis. What do you guys think about this? Is this crazy? This is the first time I've been hearing about this news. I mean, I'm shocked, but put your thoughts down below in the comments section. What if Phil Hawes had swung at Daniel Cormier after his fight with Deron Winn with his second round at TKO? I don't know. I don't know. Probably get cut from the UFC. That's my guess. Paul Daly threw a strike after the bell or whatever, and he was cut from the UFC and went over to Bellator. I'm assuming that would be the same thing, but we got Chael Sonnen asking the most relevant questions in all of combat sports. What if Phil Hawes had swung at Daniel Cormier? What if that would have happened? And we have the whole confrontation here. If we turn the sound on a little bit right now, I mean, Phil Hawes talking trash, Daniel Cormier talking trash and things like that. I mean, you picked the wrong opponent.
Hey, you didn't beat me. I know I didn't. You didn't beat me. I know. I don't pick fights. You know how many times you tried not to take this fucking fight? Yeah. Look at what happened. Why would I want this fight? I hear you. Be on the outside. It felt like matter though, but don't. But still, I apologize. You can do it better than that. Don't do that. Like I don't pick fights.
So yeah, they had a little confrontation after the Phil Hawes-Deron Win fight, and for some reason Phil Hawes was under the interpretation that Daniel Cormier set up this fight with Deron Win and Phil Hawes, because he thought, I don't know, maybe Deron Win thought, or Daniel Cormier thought this would be a good fight for Deron Win, that he could win easily. I don't know. There was some beef after the fight, and Chael Sonnen just asking the relevant questions to the situation. What if Hawes had swung at Cormier? I mean, come on, Chael. He's not going to swing at Cormier in the middle of the octagon after the fight. He's going to get cut from the UFC. Probably not even go to Bellator. I mean, come on, Chael. What are you asking here? The most relevant questions in all of combat sports. What do you think about that? Israel Adesanya advises Robert Whittaker what to do next with his MMA career, and it is not fight Marvin Vettori, not fight Andre Muniz, Derek Brunson, it's not fight anyone in the UFC middleweight division. Instead, Israel Adesanya is saying, you know, I've already beat you twice, I knocked you out, I beat you by decision the second time. You know, you should probably go up to the 205-pound division. If you want to, you should go up to 205, see what you think about, maybe try it for a little bit. But yeah, I've already read that book already. I don't like reading the same book over and over and over again. So it's clear that the taste in Israel Adesanya's mouth of another Robert Whittaker fight in the future just does not really entice him to get another third fight to a guy that he's already beat twice. I mean, it was a controversial second one. Some people do have Whittaker winning. But what do you guys think? Do you think Robert Whittaker should move up to the light heavyweight division? I obviously do not. He's a small middleweight as it is, and he used to be a welterweight fighter. But what do you guys think about this news in the UFC middleweight / light heavyweight division? But yeah, that is all of today's MMA news that we have. We have Israel Adesanya saying he cannot wait to face his ex-kickboxing foe, Alex Pereira, in MMA. The man, the myth, the legend that knocked out Israel Adesanya one time and beat him by a decision the other time. And we got Adrian Yanez right here saying that the staff members of the UFC were literally telling him to F up Tony Kelley in their fight. The literal UFC staff. We got Anthony Smith reacting to the betting odds for the Magomed Ankalaev Anthony Smith fight, which were 5-1 in favor of Magomed Ankalaev. He says that is criminal. We have Nate Diaz saying that he should probably go on to fight Jake Paul. Release me or book me a fight. And we have Dana White issuing these same sentiments, saying Nate Diaz should probably go on to fight Jake Paul in boxing. I mean, we didn't really go over this story, but Carla Esparza and a potential Shevchenko strawweight arrival, that would be scary, is what she said. So that's not really the best look for Carla Esparza. We have Sean O'Malley trying to become a double champion in the bantamweight and featherweight division, then move on to boxing and fight Gervonta Davis. You have the real questions to ask in terms of Chael Sonnen. What if Phil Hawes had swung on Daniel Cormier? An absolutely amazing story right there. And then we have Israel Adesanya advising Robert Whittaker to move on to the UFC light heavyweight division. What do you guys think about these stories we got today in the UFC middleweight, light heavyweight, bantamweight, I think we already did light heavyweight, strawweight, and featherweight division? Put your thoughts down below. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. We do these MMA news videos pretty much every single day, so if you like them, make sure to like. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go.